Hello everyone and welcome to the first game of Nemesis Lockdown for the channel. We've done a few games of the original Nemesis at this point, but a little while back I did pick up the sequel, which is called Nemesis Lockdown. Instead of being on board the Nemesis in deep space, you are on a three-tiered base on Mars, starting from left to right, the lowest floor, middle floor, and then the surface of Mars itself on the far right there. It plays essentially the same. You play, if you're doing solo or true co-op, you're playing as a group or one person trying to get out of somewhere that has an alien infestation, achieving an objective in the process, otherwise you count as a loss, all that stuff. But this does become more complicated than the standard Nemesis game because that wasn't complicated enough apparently. The base alien race for this game, called the Night Stalkers, have a darkness brightness mechanic. Some of the base starts powered up, some of it is not. There's a couple of set rooms in position, for instance the isolation room down here on your left, and the room in which my two characters are going to be starting, who are painted, but I haven't had time to paint any of the aliens, so apologies in advance. The one in green is the hacker, the one in blue is the sentry, and that's the player order as well, hacker, sentry. And they start up there because they are staff for this facility. They are not survivors of the Nemesis, or a couple of the other new characters also start in the isolation room, because it is set after the original. There's a little bit more in terms of new mechanics that we'll have to cover, but again, the gist of it is still the same as the original Nemesis. If you want a rundown of that, go watch the Nemesis videos. But beyond that, we're just going to be playing and experimenting, but this is my first game ever of Lockdown. Played quite a bit of Nemesis at this point. First game of Lockdown, there's bound to be some errors involving the new mechanics. Apologies in advance for that, but the best way to learn is to do. So before we get the game started, there's just a couple of new things to cover on this side of a table. There is a computer action in any room with a computer that is powered. You can discard a card to do one of the actions on this card, and then you draw another one, but there is one bad card in this list. There's also CSS tokens next to the time track here. We start up at the top there, and there's this red thing down here, which is very important. The CSS are cargo sending systems. That's one possible way of escaping. Think of them like the escape pods on board the Nemesis, essentially. The isolation room eventually opens up and you can lock yourself in, so that's kind of similar to the hibernatorium. The base can open as well. You can get into this little rover here and drive your way to the bunker where you can wait for safety when the company comes to get you. The problem is, the company has a contingency plan that is randomly selected, and this is it. Don't know what it is. As a solo player, you draw two of the other contingencies and can look at them, which we'll do in a second. And you have to try and narrow down what the contingency plan is that the company is going to do, to try and make sure you're not going to get murdered by them. The unused contingencies are in the middle here, and various game mechanics lets us look at those. And we have a quick reference here showing us how many are in the deck, so you can work out what the contingency is. If you were playing the semi-cooperative base game, you keep these kind of things to yourself, but just wanted to cover that real quick. The last thing to note about is power. Depending on the side the time track is, red or blue, the facility can lose power. We're going to want to try and back up turn on the backup power generator turn 1, or it'll probably go very badly for us. So last thing to cover, character boards, basically identical to Nemesis. They have their action decks, you draw 5 cards, 2 actions, then you move over to the next person. You can pass when you want to, or when you can no longer do 2 actions. And they have an objective card each, and I'm going to play it how I did last time. I haven't looked at these in advance. We're going to try and achieve both of them, and it does say in the rulebook if you're playing solo mode, it doesn't account for solo mode with more than one character, though it's worth knowing. You get to see what 2 contingencies are. There we go, that's the word. What's the first one? Kill all those who did not send the signal. So we know that is not one of the contingencies, though there is another one in the deck. And kill all those who have 4 or less knowledge. Knowledge is another mechanic we'll talk about as we increase it, but both the characters I picked start at base 1 knowledge. They're very dumb. So there is another one of them in the deck as well, so getting that information hasn't really helped us, because there's another copy of each of them that could be the contingency in place. Let's look at our objectives and actually start. So the hacker, he wants unconventional medicine. Finish the game with an intruder carcass. Oh, you wouldn't believe how much I can get for these. Okay, so we have to kill an alien. Well, he doesn't necessarily need to, the sentry could do it. He needs to kill an alien, or just obtain an alien corpse and take it out of the game with him. That's weird. He starts with a smart gun, incidentally. Only 3 ammo, but misses are treated as hits. In the sentry, he has an SMG with 5 ammo. He can expend more ammo to get more hits. Kind of similar to how we were doing the 6-shooter last time. And his objective, no stone unturned. Send the signal and all rooms must be explored. 2 very reasonable objectives, but we have to try and work out what the contingency is, otherwise we might just end up dying anyway. And that's on top of all the other ways you can normally die. The facility breaking because of too much fire or malfunctions, having an alien growing in your belly, all that stuff can still happen. So with that in mind, let's get started with Nemesis Lockdown. So as we get started here, there's one last thing to cover. There is 4 potential areas in the base that can be powered. As part of the setup, you randomise, and 2 of those are powered. Either the bottom floor, middle floor, top floor, or the lift, which takes you between all the floors. Randomised, and the top floor and the lift currently have power. Middle floor, lower floor do not. And that is important because the Night Stalkers are much more deadly in the dark. So wondering about the blue dice, incidentally, if you're in a lit area, you get to use better attack dice, which are more likely to do good things for you, although sometimes it takes a discard of a card to do more damage. Anyway, I've drawn cards as usual. If I'm using the card for the purpose on the card, I'll let you see it. Otherwise, we're just going to play. We're starting with the hacker. I'm discarding a rest card. Oh, I need to move some of these contingencies out of the way because we know those are not the contingency. It's a hard word to say. In play. And he's going to move, and movement is exactly the same as in Nemesis. We're going to go this way. And we have discovered Cargo Sending System B, which is one of the optional rooms. It is not guaranteed. There's only 1 guaranteed room. And there's noise in every direction along with 2 items. Excellent. So 2 items. We are in here. Don't need to roll for noise because it's everywhere. I'm glad I didn't move carefully now because I was considering doing that. Unfortunately, that also includes the technical corridor right there. Where is the marker for that on this map? I actually don't see where it is. I will have to check. I actually don't see it at a glance. Either way, there's noise in every direction, so we know that there's a problem now if he decides to move. So he's going to search, and he has a search card. Same generic search card you're probably used to. And because we're in a white room, he can search for any colour deck he wants. And I am going to search for... He wants an alien corpse, so he wants better ways to kill. I think I'm gonna take a chance on a red deck. So down to 1 search remaining. 2 cards off the red deck. This is all the same as the original Nemesis. And we have found weapon battery or thermite charge. I need to read these. Choose one room. Oh, the thermite charge sets a room on fire and does injuries if there's intruders and such. Or I can just have weapon ammo. And I can also use a computer action. I'm going to take the weapon battery because it's also craftable. I'll discard the other one for now. Put this one in here. So that's him. Now we have to go over to the sentry. So before the sentry's first turn, the marker for the technical tunnels is that thing right there. And the technical tunnels are always considered to be in darkness for the purposes of gameplay mechanics, which might come up later. So we are going to discard a rest card with the sentry. And he's going to follow the hacker so that there's no noise roll. He's going to plod through here. And then he's going to use one of his unique cards called Facility Tour. Just let you see it before I read it. I think that's in focus, hopefully. Move yourself and up to 1 other character in the room you're in. They do not have to agree to a chosen neighbouring room. You can ignore the effect of an exploration token. Perform a noise roll as per. I don't know if that means you would do it for both, I presume not. We're going to force the hacker to come along with us up here, and that is one of the areas, pardon me, where you can call the elevator. But we do need to do a noise roll. Noise roll is done exactly the same. A 4 is fine. There's noise right here. There's also stairs you can use to get between floors. They're also always counted as being in darkness and are very dangerous to wait in. That's his 2 actions though, so it's back over to the hacker. So I'm going to go read how to, like if you need to pay twice, once to call the elevator, once to go in it, or if once is enough. Alright, so sadly you do have to pay to call the elevator and then use the elevator to deposit yourself on another floor. That's doubly bad. I've also not left myself enough room to put the card where it's meant to go when you call the elevator, but it's looking like I'm not going to be able to get down to Well, let's see. 1 to call it, 1 to move it, 1 to move again. Yeah, backup power is not going to be activated this turn. It can be activated next turn, but that does mean that either the elevator or the upper floor is going to lose power at the end of this turn. Nevertheless, I also can't unfortunately take the sentry with me, so he's just going to have to make do on his own. We'll get rid of a card called Recharge for the hacker that calls the elevator to him, and then he is spending 1 to use it. I'll get rid of a neural link. Yeah, I'll get rid of a neural link, so that will save me moving the elevator to where he is. But sorry for the stretching. This is the elevator right here. So he called it to him, and then he used it, and he's going to disappear from your screen because he is going all the way down to the bottom floor of the facility, because that is where the backup generator is. Now, I don't know if him popping out down there requires a noise roll or not. Just so it's all above board, I'll do it on camera anyway, and then go check between cuts. So it will be 4. I'm going to go double check. At a glance, it looks like you do have to do a noise roll. I couldn't see specifically. I've put it down there, so when you next see the hacker, there is a noise roll at the number 4. But we're with the sentry. He has 3 cards left. He is going to move carefully, so I can control where he's hearing noises. We're going to finish exploring the upper floor, because there's not really a need for him to follow the hacker right now. Now behind this big door, which is the facility door, there is actually a room here. That's what he's going to go to. And he has found a vent control room. I believe that's similar to the airlock control in Nemesis. What's wrong with it though? A door slammed down behind him, and there's 3 items. That's okay. Door slams down behind, like that, and we're going to hear noise back there, like that. So we don't really want to take the elevator back up now, because that's a guaranteed encounter afterwards. He has 1 card left in his hand. It is a search card, and he will use it. And that's a yellow room, so he'll search it down to 2, like that, and we'll take the top 2 cards. 1, 2. Duct tape or cave plans? What is cave plans? If you're in the room with a technical entrance, you may move to a chosen explored room with a technical corridor, but you have to draw and resolve an attack against you. Would the duct tape do anything for him? What does he need to do? He needs to find cargo sending system A, and he gets a battle suit if he does that. The hacker needs to find the archive. We can get rid of... I want both these. I'm going to take the cave plans because I think that could be clutch, even though it gets you a guaranteed attack later on. Who knows? So that is the round for the sentry done. The hacker has 1 card left though, so we are going to jump back over to him. So there's our hacker. He is getting rid of his final card in his hand, which was another search, and he's going to move into backup power supply. Sadly, he can't do anything with it this turn, and we need to roll for noise. And he's safe. He is safe for now. But there's noise all around, so he's going to have to start moving carefully next turn. So that does take us to the end of the first battle round, so we'll go through the steps that you go through. They're very similar to Nemesis, so you should be familiar, but let's do them step by step. So I have the rule summary quick sheet, which is a fantastic addition incidentally, to make sure we keep right. So event phase. If the turn time marker was on a CSS token, you would launch that token, but it's not. Then you move it, and then you would do some auto-destruct sequence if it was activated. Now unfortunately, there's some red and blue lines on the time track. If you cross over a red line while you're on a red marker, which we are because we didn't turn on backup power, that means that part of the facility is losing power. I think it's highest number first. I will double check between cuts. Highest power first would mean that the elevator is losing power. After that, you would do noise removal. If you're in a floor with light and it's not connected to a room you're in, a corridor, sorry, the sound goes away because the Night Stalkers don't want to hang around where there's light. So because there's still power up here, this corridor isn't directly connected, so the noise disappears here, here, and here. Unfortunately though, the hacker is down in the dark, so nothing happens there. Next step, intruder attack, no intruders yet. Fire damage, no fire. Next step, event card, and then bag development, of which there is also a quick reference thankfully. So, event card. Consuming fire, lovely. Set the item counter to 0 in each room with a fire marker. Thankfully we've found none. Yeah, okay, actually that does nothing because we've found no fire. Bag development, exactly the same kind of setup as original Nemesis, although the bag is bigger, which I appreciate because Man hands have trouble getting in these, and there's also a quick reference for what each token does, so let's see what happens. We have found, incidentally, you might be able to see the laboratory thing up there. It's essentially the same as the intruder board from Nemesis. So that's a crawler, isn't it? Let's see here. We have this right here. That's the wrong card. This right here. There's lots of quick references. That is indeed the crawler. Remove this token from the intruder bag and add 1 breeder token to the intruder bag. Ooh, that's scary. But that means nothing is happening this round, and we can jump into a new one. So round 2 is beginning with the hacker, and it is the highest number, so the elevator is currently powered down. The only area that has power is the top floor, but we're about to change that. We're going to get rid of the interruption card and the demolition card in order to activate the backup generator. So you do a few things when you do this. So I'm going to look at the quick reference. When a character restores power to the facility via the backup power supply, resolve the following. Reset the power. Don't do this if there's 3 or more powered tokens. There is not. There's only 1. The 2 lowest number power tokens must be flipped to the blue side. So the 2 lowest are the elevator and the middle floor, which is number 3. So the floor the hacker is on is still unpowered, but you also get to rearrange the power tokens. Simply take all the power tokens and place them in the chosen sections as you wish. Do not flip them. And then you also flip the time track token to blue because you've restored backup power. That means the facility loses power at a much slower rate, which is what we want. Do we want to rearrange the tokens though? Well, I don't think the top floor needs power because the sentry is going to leave that floor. So we're going to switch the top floor and the bottom floor of the facility. So the bottom floor has a load of power because the lowest number will go last. We're not in a room with a computer, so for his other action, let's do a careful move. We'll get rid of master plan and it works for me. Pretty cool cards, but sadly we don't get to see their purpose yet. And we're going to come down here, see what's here. We move carefully. So, oh, we found the nest. The character who explored this room gains 1 knowledge, take 1 egg. Although take 1 egg might actually be the room action. It's also on fire, which is kind of good. The nest can't have any items. So it's on fire, which means at the end of each turn an egg is going to get destroyed. He gains 1 knowledge, which is on the time track or the laboratory track. That matters because the contingency plan might be kill everyone that's got less than a certain threshold. So he's up to 2. Sentry's still at knowledge 1. And that's his 2 actions for now because he activated the backup power. He's only got 1 card left, but he can't stay in a room with fire, so he's going to have to move. So another thing to note is we're back to the sentry here. The Night Stalkers have 1 weakness revealed at the start of the game. I haven't mentioned it because you have to be at least 3 knowledge to make use of it. So it isn't doing anything yet. Anyway, let's get rid of a interruption card to move. We're going to move back to the, where did they start? The repository. Down here with the sentry. Roll for noise. That's a 3. I think it fell behind the cards, but it is a 3. And then we're going to move into the staircase, which is risky business. Oh, actually, the technical corridors still have noise in them, so that's doubly risky if I don't do it carefully. What can I do in this room? Craft. I believe you use 1 less thing if you craft here. No good for us. We'll get rid of stun and quarantine to move carefully into the staircase. Down here. The staircases are very dangerous. And we'll put the noise here. And that's his 2 actions. So it's back over to the hacker. Thank goodness we didn't get that cleansing fire at the end of this turn. Well, he's not got 1 card left. He's discarding it to move as I get distracted by a text message, badly timed. And we're going to move through here into this room loudly. The CSS control room. Schedule CSS. Presumably that moves around the tokens. But it's broken with a single item in it. Right there. So we're there. I'm going to have to double check if you don't get a free egg. I'm pretty sure you don't. I think that just means that's the action you can take for 2. Noise in the 2. Oh no, I didn't realise it had a technical. Well, I was doing it either way. Unfortunately, that means he has discovered something, which also means I'm going to get to look at one of the aliens, which again, apologies, is unpainted. Haven't quite decided how I want to paint them either. So he has found the... It's a larva. Now, depending on whether the area you're in is bright or dark, you have actually gotten very lucky here. You need less cards to defend against the attack from the alien. I shouldn't call them intruders because they're not intruders, they're Night Stalkers. Thankfully, because we've lit up this area, it actually doesn't hurt us. It just bounces off of us and does not impregnate us, which is what larva usually does. It does, however, mean it's still in the room with us, though. Unfortunately, the sentry cannot get down there to the hacker, so even though he defended against the larva, there's no way to stop it impregnating him at the end of the turn when they get their free attack in the event phase. So unfortunately, the hacker's going to get something in his belly. And I don't think there's anything I can do to stop that at this point. So we're going to want to find a medical room to get rid of it. For now though, the sentry's just going to discard his last 2 cards to move carefully because I want to control where the noise is. And he's going to come down behind these cards, annoyingly, to the room that's down here, which is Power Generator. Stop auto destruction sequence or power a section. Interesting. And what's wrong with it? Oh good, there's noise in every direction. I'm really glad I moved carefully. 3 items. It's great when that happens. So the noise is all around him. And he's not in a powered section, so that's doubly bad. So there's noise all around him. He has to end his turn there. The sentry ends his turn there, so now bad stuff happens. So we're speeding up now, but I'm going through the rule summary again for the event phase because there's some different stuff happening, obviously. Launch CSS, nope, doesn't happen yet. Move the time track, we pass the red line, but because we're on the blue line, nowhere loses power, so that's good for our favour. Then we do the noise removal. Is there any noise removal? Yes. The noise over by the nest disappears. And that's it. Because the sentry is connected to the other corridors that have noise in them on the middle floor. And the other floor is dark. Intruder attack. Unfortunately, the hacker gets face hugged by the little babby Night Stalker. So that's on his card now. And we're going to need to do something about that real quick. Then you do fire damage. Much like in the original Nemesis, because the nest is on fire, 1 egg is destroyed from the nest. If they all get destroyed, the nest is considered destroyed. Which may matter for, well, objective cards. I don't think it matters for contingencies, so it doesn't really matter for us. Event card, and then bag development. Damage. Place a malfunction marker in each room with an adult, intruder, breeder, or queen. Nope. Or, if it's an area that's dark, which is what this bottom bit means, place a malfunction marker in each room with a character. Thankfully, we're on a floor with each character now that's powered, so that does nothing. Bag development is a larva. It presumably just gets replaced with an adult, same as in the original. Remove this token from the intruder bag, add 1 adult. Yep. Okay, so actually we got kind of lucky there, if you ignore the whole face-hugging part. So a new round begins with our friend the hacker in desperate need of finding medical attention. I do want to try and clear all the rooms down here to help the sentry with his objective card. We're going to get rid of a demolition to move noisily, and we're going to move into the isolation room, which again is almost blocked by cards. Noise roll. That's a 4. In the direction I want to go. I'd have to double back on myself if I did that. The sentry could come down here, search that room, and then go back, but that means going through the staircase, which is dangerous. Are they connected by a corridor? No, there's no connection between room here and one out the bottom left that you can't quite see. That's awkward. I'm going to go down to the bottom left of the table. I am, and I'm going to move. I'm going to just move. I am just going to move. Let's get rid of master plan, because we need a computer room and I've not really done a good job of finding those. So we're going to have to move in viro here. We're coming down behind these cards here to the room right here, which is the laboratory. Great. If I had an alien corpse, you could... Oh, actually, no, he wouldn't be able to because he wants to keep the alien corpse, but you could do this to examine another weakness and get some knowledge. It does have a computer in it, though, and it's broken. So, 3 items in the laboratory. It is busted, our first busted room. Let's see, he moved twice, but when we're back to him, he actually has a card called It Works For Me, which means I think I can use that regardless of it being broken, but we'll deal with that in a second. Our friend the sentry is getting rid of 2 cards, an interrupt and a stun. yeah, he can actually be quite aggressive towards players, which is not, you're not usually direct in the way you mess with players if you're playing semi-cooperatively. Moving carefully into this room, which is cooling system. Another room to initiate the self-destruct. Okay, they really want you to destroy the base. Also broken with 3 items in it. And kind of, oh actually, the hacker is in a green room. Because I was thinking maybe search the green deck for something to help, but I think he needs a very specific, he needs the surgery room or equivalent of whatever it's called in this version. Let's put noise there. And then for his other action, we'll just use facility tour, which is essentially just a move to go into this weirdly shaped center room, which I think if you start in it you'd get 1 extra card draw at the start of your turn. But we're probably not going to stay there, so he's just going to go plop, plop, plop down there and roll for noise. Where is the noise roll? There it is. 2. Noise that away. That's not good. And that's his 2 actions for now. He's got 2 cards left in his hand. Back over to the hacker. So the hacker's to your bottom left. We're going to do something weird. We're going to use the card It Works For Me, which requires another card to get rid of. So we're going to get rid of a search card to do it. There is the text. Discard a malfunction marker from the room you're in. We're doing that just to make sure the facility doesn't explode. If you're in a room with a computer and a section with power, both those things are true, you may use a computer action. So the active computer card is computer action E. So we get to pick an action from this and do it. I'm going to choose to peek at a CSS token. I'm not going to peek at the first one. I'm going to peek at the second one. And because I'm playing solo, I'm just going to leave it flipped. So this is what it says on it. There is no launch. Because if you get in a CSS pod and it doesn't launch, either because there's no launch or a different one launches, you take a serious wound. So it really punishes you for trying to get lucky and just leaving. So 1 card left in hand. I am going to move. We're going to get rid of it. It was a bypass card. Oh yeah, I think we need to draw a new computer card now as well. If I'm wrong about that, apologies. But the video I watched on how to play says if you do something on the card, you draw a new one. So those are the options on the new card. Gain 1 knowledge, peek at a CSS token, or swap power tokens. It's actually pretty decent. So we are moving noisily through this corridor on the left here into the room, which is, we actually found the emergency room. That's going to get rid of the larva, I hope, assuming it's the same as surgery. Oh boy, it's on fire. Well then, that is an issue. Cleansing flame. And we need to roll for noise, of course. A 4. Back the way we came, we're being followed. And unfortunately, the round for the hacker is over, so I'll just issue the light wound he gets from the fire now. Although it would happen. Actually, does it happen when he passes and in the fire step of the end phase? I think it does. So that means he's going to be on 2, so he's going to be 1 away from a serious. Real quick end to the sentry's turn. 2 cards left. Discarding them both in order to carefully move, because I want to be able to control where noise is currently. And he's going to come down to this room here, which is Decon room. Perform a decontamination procedure. So as if you had contaminate. Oh, I think he should have got a contaminated card in his hand when he got infested as well. I believe he does. Oh boy, the sentry got slimed. It basically works identically to how it did in the base game of Nemesis, I believe. I moved carefully, so I'm going to put noise here because it's part of my cunning plan. I have a plan. It's a little bit different now that he's covered in slime. I'll grant you that. But that's the end of the round. Before we do the end steps, I'll just double check. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the hacker needs a contamination card in his discard pile now. So, end of another round. So, we're not losing power. We're just going to move that down there. There's no CSS token. Fire damage, another egg has been destroyed. So that's 2 of the 5 or 6. Unfortunately, that would then also do a wound to the hacker. So he's up to 2 light wounds. I also checked in the laboratory or the emergency room. Neither of them can remove infestations. But he was supposed to have a contamination card, so that's in his discard pile now. And will be wasting space in his inventory, because you can't discard it as part of playing a card. So, event card for the turn. Here we go. Power Surge. Flip the time token to its inactive side. Oh no. Well, that wasn't going to matter for the next turn crossover, honestly, because whether it was blue or red, it still powers down a section. That's all it does. There's no one to move intruder wise, so we're just on to bag development. Getting much more likely it's going to be an adult token with what's left in here. Nope, never mind, it's a larva. So speaking of adult tokens, there's another one in the bag for the next turn. So we're back down to this corner of the board where it's not as helpful as I hoped it was. It's also going to be... no, this section is going to lose power last. Presumably I can go back to the power supply, the backup power supply, and flip the token again. I'm not sure I need to at this point. We're going to get rid of just an interruption card. They don't need to move carefully. Let's try and be a bit more efficient here. We've only encountered one alien, but it's still not looking great. Moving through to this room here. Cargo sending system A. So this is the one that is guaranteed. Oh no. It's also on fire. Okay, 2 items on fire. 2 items on fire. The hacker is not having good luck when it comes to not finding things that are flammable. And that's a 4 right there. Yeah, I think getting out of the lower floor as soon as possible would be a good idea, but there's one room behind this card right here that hasn't been explored. Let's get rid of a rest and a recharge, because he doesn't need the recharge card. That's to give him free ammo back. He hasn't used any yet. And we'll move up to this room. Cargo sending system C. Is it also on fire? No, we were actually silent, so no noise roll. That's the first good result we've had. 2 items in here. There we are. 2 items in here. No noise roll because we were silent. And that's him for now with 2 cards left. Hopefully, I don't know what the item decks are in lockdown. There might be something there that helps, but I doubt it. Alright, still need to move carefully with the sentry, so I'm getting rid of demolition and defense plan to move carefully to whatever this room is. I need to control the noise. Transmitter control room. Ah, it's the room to send the signal or check an objective, so you can look at other people's objective cards if you were playing uncooperatively. Door slams down behind, which was not part of my plan. That's unfortunate. But I do get to control where the noise is, and I want the noise to be here. Oh, you know what I didn't do at the end of the last turn? I didn't do removal of noise in lit areas, which would have been... where did he end his turn? He ended his turn here, so this would have gone away, this would have gone away. I think that's it, actually. Oh no, and here. Those would have went away. Sorry, I knew I was forgetting something. So, he needs to send the signal, right? Yeah, he does. So, 2 cards to do that, unfortunately. So, there we go. We'll get rid of a search and a repair card. He has now sent the signal, so he's halfway to completing his objective. But now he's surrounded by noise, and I can't carefully move. Oh, sorry, I forgot that the sentry is slimed, so that gets treated as a danger noise, but there's danger all around, so it doesn't matter. It's essentially the same thing happened. Well, the hacker's just going to get out. Actually, he could search for a green item, yeah, and try for... yeah, he'll do that. He'll get rid of a search card in order to search. Take that room down from 2 to 1. 2 green items, top of the deck. 1, 2. A medkit or a medkit. Sadly, neither of which get rid of the alien in his belly, but hey, he's got a medkit. So why not? So we'll get rid of that. And then he is going to move into the lobby of the elevator, the lift. Get rid of Neural Link. That was his last card this turn. So he's passed now. He can't not pass. And he has to do a noise roll. He's here. At least the elevator's there. And he actually rolled a silent, and he is not slimed, so he's good. No noise at all. So to end off this round, I've got to decide what to do with the sentry, and I've just been debating before starting the camera up again. Do I want to be safe and potentially pay for it? Or do I want to be stupid and potentially reap the benefits of doing that? Because safe bet, move back into this room, do a noise roll. Hopefully it's not a 2, won't get an encounter. Fine, can go explore the rest of the floor. But there's this annoying room behind this card, and the hacker's not going to go for it. Because if the hacker gets another infested token, or another facehugger, he just insta-dies. So I'd rather not take that risk. But that means he's going to end his turn in a staircase right here. And if he rolls a 3 or a 4, he gets an encounter, and it's definitely hitting him. And he's slimed, which might matter for the attack or the event card. It's so bad. It's a 50-50 chance of getting an intruder. You know what, let's just go for it. because he can't move carefully, so I can't decide. Because he's only got a search card left, so that's his turn is ending. He's plodding on down the stairs, being like, "This is cool," and then we want a 1 or a 2. Well, that's what I deserve. Quite frankly, he has encountered an alien who is definitely hitting him because it's in darkness and he has no cards left in his hand. It'll probably be an adult, which means we get to see them though, and they look cool. It is... oh, that's so much worse. That's a breeder. I'm not even 100% sure which miniature is used for that. I'm going to have to go look it up. So, the breeder is definitely attacking him. One moment, please. The puny staircase cannot even contain the breeder. The miniature is very cool looking. Very cool indeed. What he's about to do, not so much though. Let's draw the attack card. Night Stalker attack card. They have their own attack deck. It does come with a deck for the original intruders as well. Yeah, he's on here. Blood Chase. The character suffers 1 light wound and gets slimed. Already slimed. If the character was attacked because of an escape action and has an undressed serious wound, the intruder falls. No, he's not escaping. So, that is a light wound. Jolly good. And he's stuck there, so he's going to get attacked again in the end phase, which we're going into now because both characters have passed. Well, things can certainly be a lot better. Let's move the time track because it's not on the CSS token. It does power down the area with the highest number, which is the middle floor. So the middle floor is now in darkness. Next thing to go will be the elevator, unless we do something about it, of course. So, we have an intruder attack, fire, that's 3 eggs gone, so I've not been removing them, I keep forgetting. 1, 2, 3, so there's 3 eggs remaining, and then the nest is destroyed. I can't remember if event card or attack card comes first. I don't think it matters, but let's double check just in case. Attack first. Attack actually comes before fire. Night Stalker attack! Oh, he is attacking. The character suffers 1 light wound and gets a contamination card. Okay. Contamination card in discard pile. Also, because he's in darkness, the character suffers 1 additional light wound, which means he has suffered a serious wound, because he had 2 already. His undressed serious wound is his body. He's been stabbed. You draw 4 instead of 5 cards. Peachy! Oh, before we carry on, I did forget to do bag development at the end of that turn. After the event card. Actually, did we even do the event card or did we just do the attack card? I think we forgot the event card as well, but I've already drawn something from the bag. It is the blank token, so I think intruder goes back, that goes back in the bag, and you add an adult token. Everything adds an adult token. But yeah, I don't think I drew an event card because I got distracted by the attack card. So, the event for the turn it just ended is leaving the shell. And the breeder won't move because it's on the same square as an enemy. Each character with a larva on their character board gets a contamination card and scans it. If it's infected, they die. Place a creeper in the room. Otherwise, place the contamination in the discard pile. Each other character draws 4 cards from their deck and scans all drawn contamination cards. If they have at least 1 infected card, place a larva on and then discard all drawn cards. So that means it matters for the hand I just drew, and the sentry did draw a contamination card. But let's handle the other thing first. We get a new contamination card for the hacker because they have got a larva. And there is the card. Again, I don't know if it shows up or not. It sort of does. Does this say infected? It does not, so it goes on his discard pile. All other characters... yeah, so I did draw the contaminate card in the 4 cards that the sentry is allowed to draw this turn. Let's see. Is he infected? I don't think so. No, he is not. If they have 1 in card, put 1 on the board, otherwise discard. So unfortunately I'm just going to lose all those cards and drop. Now we're ready to start the next round proper. So our hacker to the top left is getting rid of his recharge card to use the elevator. Because he is at the elevator and it's where it left off. So we're going to get spat out on the middle floor. Right there, which is in darkness. There's noise to the 4, which is there. That's his first action for the turn. Unfortunately, he's got his contaminated card to deal with as well. And then we'll dump a search to just move normally into whatever this is. The archive. He needs to find the archive for his quest item called cheat codes. Examine the archives. Each character can examine the archives once and it gives them 3 knowledge. It's broken, so we'll need to repair it. 2 items. It's busted. Noise roll. Noise everywhere. That's what you want to see. Right there. Right there. Right there. And that's him for now. So things are not looking good for the sentry down here. 4 cards in hand. He could use his SMG. You can discard 1 or 2 extra ammo when you fire it, and for each one you do an attack, and you can check after each attack to see if you've killed it or driven it off. But for a breeder, for a breeder, you draw 2 cards, same as the queen. I think I'm going to risk running away. Oh, that might be a stupid idea. I'm going to run away. So we're going to leave, which means he gets a free attack on us. He does attack. Oh, it's the card where he chases. Character suffers 1 light wound. Gets a slime marker way ahead of you there. If the character was attacked because of an escape action and has any undressed serious wounds, yep, the intruder follows him. At least we still get away, and we don't need to roll for noise presumably because the intruder is upon us. What room have we discovered? Cave entrance. Move through technical corridors. I was planning on doing that anyway. That's actually kind of perfect. No noise, I disagree. But again, I think because we're being chased it doesn't matter. 1 item. So we ran down the stairs, he just crashes through the wall. Oh yeah. So unfortunately, 1 action down, the problem still persists. But the goal was to explore that room. It wasn't to, do anything else really. We're going to try and run away again. I don't want to go back into the staircase, I think, or do I? Yeah, I will. I'll get rid of a demolition card. Did I put his on the wrong deck there? No, we're fine. So he gets another free attack on us. He is attacking. Character suffers 1 light wound, gets a contamination, so he's up to 2 light wounds. Another contamination card. It's not looking good. Is this area dark? This area is not dark, so thankfully we don't have to do the second part. And this time he didn't follow. We're back in the dark staircase, bleeding profusely but alive. Well, super simple for the hacker. He's only got 2 usable cards left in his hand and a contagion one, so he's going to get rid of the 2 to use the archive. Oh wait, no, it's broken. Actually, I don't think that matters because that just means the computer's broken. Some rooms have a computer. If there's a malfunction marker in the room, the computer is unavailable as if there was no computer. So yeah, you can still use the archive for the archive. Which he will, which means he gains 2 knowledge, and you flip it to his gained knowledge side. So as I stretch over, he's at 4 now, which means he can also use the weakness, which is, let's see, fragile endoskeleton. Any classic or melee injuries deal 1 additional. It does not help him, because he's using a very futuristic weapon. But it means that he's got more knowledge, which is nice. And the secondary part of it is you can peek at any contingency token, and because I'm playing solo, I'm just going to turn it over for everyone to see. So we know for sure the company's contingency is not going to kill all the stupid people, because that is both of them discovered. I started with 1, that's another 1. We know for sure the yellow contingency is definitely not in play, but that's his turnover. And there's only 2 usable cards left in the sentry's hand because they started before. He's dumping those to move carefully back up here, controlling where the noise is, right there. And that's all his cards, so he is done for the turn as well. So at the end of that round we're ticking down to 10, and that's a CSS token marker. So at the start of the next end phase, one of the tokens will be flipped, the one before the one that I checked. Then, let's see, let's remove any power that we need to remove, or not power, sorry, noise from powered areas. So noise down the bottom floor disappears, and that's it, because it's just the bottom floor and the elevators are powered. Not so good. Fire, another egg, gone. There's actually only 1 left, there's 5 on the nest, not 6. So the nest will be classed as destroyed at the end of the next turn unless the fire goes out or something happens. But that's fine by me. Let's see, the intruder might move, but there's no attacking, sorry, the Night Stalker. We'll go straight to the event then. Does it move? It does, it moves to the 1, which is, he loves that staircase. He's right back in the staircase. Bulkheads open. Open all doors except destroyed doors. So there was only one. Wasn't there another door that closed at some point? Did I forget to put it on the table? I might have done. Either way, that opens it. Darkness. Place a noise marker in each corridor without a noise marker connected to a room with a character. Way ahead of you. That's true for both characters, unfortunately. But that does mean that the event doesn't do anything, even though it's dark. So, we're fine. A new round begins. Alright, let's get the hacker turn started. We're going to play It Works For Me. I'll get rid of interruption along with it. So that's the one we've seen before. You discard a malfunction marker, and I get to do a computer action. Oh wait, no, we're not in a powered section, so sadly I can't. I can get rid of the malfunction marker, so I will still do it. But yeah, I forgot we weren't powered, so I've actually just wasted that a little bit. Okay, but we can use bypass and get rid of a rest card along with it as his other action, and do the OR part. Flip a power token over the section you're in. So we're going to flip power back on. He's hacking the system, and power is back onto the floor. I'm going to say I did that in the other order because I just didn't read the card, which is bad, but I'm going to say I did that in the opposite order, so my first thing will actually do something, and we get to do a computer action. Apologies for that. So we get to pick something here. Gain 1 knowledge, peek at a CSS token, or swap 2 power tokens. I'm swapping 2 power tokens again. I'm going to swap the lower floor with the upper floor because we ain't going back down to the lower floor again. My plan is not to go into the isolation room to live. We're going to try and get out. So that's the computer actions that are now in play. Computer action card C. And unfortunately he's only got 1 card left now, but we'll be back to him in a minute. So the sentry's going to move. Get rid of facility tour. It doesn't even matter if it's a move action because the card itself makes him move. And actually, do we want to move carefully? No, we should move carefully. I'll get rid of another card. Let's get rid of stun, because when you're playing co-op that doesn't do anything. Move here. Generate noise. Yeah, the technical corridors are clear currently. Yeah, we'll put it there then. And then, oh, he's only got 2 cards left. This sucks. He needs to find medical help. Although actually the hacker could trade it to him. He'll get rid of his last 2 cards to move carefully again. Which is not great, but I need to try and control noise on this floor, or it could end really badly. And that's his turn, and you can see the hacker just about above. What do I want to do with him? He's only got 1 card left. If you're in a room with a computer and a section with power, use a computer action. None of those computer actions are super useful. He is going to move, and I'm going to risk just moving. And he'll move into your view, because I know you can't quite see him, you can only see his base topper. He's moving down here to see what this room is. Testing Lab is what it's called. Knowledge 4, take neutralizer. Oh, if that gets rid of a larva, that's perfect. The door's slamming down behind him, and there's only 1 item in here. So there. We're blocked in, and we're rolling for noise. And we want anything other than a 1 or a 2. Well, isn't that just peachy? What has he found? He found a larva. He has no cards left in his hand. Oh no, does that just mean he's dead? Because he can't be infested when he's already infested. I'm going to need to check. Alright, it seems like nothing happens. The facehugger would appear. It would... well, the larva. Let's use the correct terminology. The larva would appear. You would remove it. It would infest the person, but it says only if they aren't already. It doesn't say you die. That's only if you get an event card, I think. So that nothing happens. It scurries off. So we're into the end phase, which means we flip a CSS token. That was also a no launch. You randomize these as part of game setup incidentally, and you don't use all of them in the same game, so there is variance. Then the powered sections. Let's see. This would go away, this would go away, this would go away, this would, so would this. A lot of noise is getting cleared because this area has now got power. All the noise from the top floor goes away. None of that does because he's adjacent to it, unfortunately, but that's okay. And then event card. Oh, and the nest is destroyed. Because that was the last egg gone. Panic, and the breeder does move. It moves to area 4. Oh joy, it's following. Each character with no action cards on hand discards 2 ammo. Okay, so the hacker's got 1 left, sentry's got 3. If they don't have enough ammo, they would discard an item. They're thankfully not in darkness, so we don't have to do the second part. Just as well. Oh, sorry, actually when the time tracker moves, it's crossing a threshold. So this area does not have power anymore. It just powered down. But if I just grab the card again, the darkness effect actually doesn't matter, because it would just affect characters who did have cards in hand at the end of the turn. So we're still good, we're still able to carry on. It's not looking great, but we'll do something. It is going to be a rough turn. The sentry's cards have 2 contamination cards in the 4 he had to draw. Alright, first things first, we're going to run a bypass with the hacker. Have to discard another card at the same time. We're discarding a rest card behind, and that's in order to flip the power in this area back on. So we're back powered up, and then we're going to use a demolition card to destroy that door behind us. Goodbye, door. It's on there tighter than you would think. There we go. Destroyed door. 2 cards in hand. I have a plan, but that's it for now. The sentry is going to discard a demolition to move. No noise roll required because he's going into a room with his friend. Oh, hello. Remember when we were alive? And then he's going to initiate trade, because trade is just 1 card, I believe. Trading items is 1 card. So he's going to get rid of defense plan and steal the med kit from the hacker. Can't use it this turn. In fact, he's passing because he only has 2 contamination cards in his hand, so he's done. The hacker still has 2 cards, and they're right next to each other, so I suppose we can cover it here. Which way do I want to go? There's 1 room left on the facility to explore, and then we're good for the sentry's objectives. Still need an alien corpse, which is a big problem. But hey, let's move noisily twice. Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? We're going to move noisily twice. So we're moving through here. That's noise in the 2, which is there, that's fine. And then we're moving to this last room, which is defense control room. Exterminate the threat? I don't know what this does. It's busted, but the hacker can repair it if we get the right card. There's only 1 item. So we're there. It is busted. I'm going to go look up what it does in a second as well. Noise roll. The 3 technical corridors are noisy again. And that's their turn over. So there's no power droppage as we move, although it is now onto another CSS marker for the next turn, but we know it's also a no launch. This area has power, so that goes. Technical corridors never get cleared by that. And fire damage doesn't matter now because the nest is destroyed. Straight to event. And we get a fire in the hole. Place a fire marker in the cargo sending systems rooms A, B and C. That's bad because I think we've actually found all of them. So that's 2, and 1 of them's already on fire. Great. So 2 of the other ones are on fire. Each character there with no action cards would suffer 1 serious wound. Thankfully that doesn't matter, and the breeder does not move. But that is more fire spreading. I'll need to go look out some more markers as we start this new round. So we're starting to run on fumes here. Incidentally, the room the hacker is in, you can use it to damage a distant enemy, but it's only 1 damage. It can't kill a breeder, so there's no point. Now it's interesting. When it crosses over, actually, is it now? Oh, it's now. We're on turn 8. So that means that the the isolation room flips open and can now be entered, and you can lock yourself in. And that's one of the ways you can survive. It also means that the front door is open up here, although you can't actually open the model, but so you can now escape on the rover. I want the sentry to just get out of here because he's going to die otherwise. The hacker, I don't rate their chances, but they need to find and kill an alien. And that's really difficult. He could also just go lock himself in the isolation room, but he hasn't done his objective. And that's a problem. So, we'll get rid of an interruption card. We want to deliberately cause noise. We'll come down here and see what we get. Noise in every direction. Well, that is a start. Oops. And then we'll move again. He's just daring the enemies to come and kill him. Move there. Fight me. A 4. Yes, you found an alien. Okay. I mean, yes, but also help us. I just want like a basic adult. That's his best chance of murder. He has found... It is an adult, so I need to look at how many cards does he have in his hand. I don't remember contamination cards count for this. It is cards in hand, and it is a lit up area, so it doesn't matter actually. Because it's 2, so it's not getting an attack on him. But I'll need to go look out the adult. We're over to the sentry for now anyway. The sentry just needs to get out of here, but he's going to try and help. Yeah, he's going to try and help take out the adult. So, he's moving into this room. He doesn't need to noise roll because, hey, there's a big old alien in here. And he's going to do an attack. Get rid of an interruption card. Get rid of ammo. He's got 2 left. We were in a lit up section, so we roll the lit up attack die. And it did 2 damage. Did it kill him? It did not. It did. He had 3 health there. So, then, that was his 2 actions, but we're going to just keep going because the hacker is going to do the same thing with their smart gun. They only have 1 ammo left. They only have 1 usable card left to get rid of. So they're passing after this, unfortunately, but they get to roll and blanks are counted as hits. So that means it would only do 1 damage if you discarded another card. I don't know if that counts as a blank. Is there even a blank on this? There is. I don't know if that counts as a blank or not. I'm going to say it does, so we have a chance, but I might be wrong. So that's 3 damage on the alien so far. 4 health that time. Back over to the sentry. He's going to fire twice if he needs to, so that's going to expend all their ammo between them, incidentally. Not good enough for an adult. And then the last bit of ammo. That's more like it. 5 damage. Come on. 2. Why can't I have gotten that first? Okay, he's dead. Which means that there's now an alien corpse there, which I do not have handy. You know what, we're not setting off the self-destruct, so let's just say there's a biocontamination problem there. That's going to be the corpse. Unfortunately, they used all their cards for that, so it's the end of the round. So we would flip the token, but we already know what it is. Power is down again in the area in which we are habitating. There is no tokens to remove as a result. Straight to the event. The breeder is moving. Area 3. He's back down into his favourite staircase. Placing a malfunction marker in the explored room with a computer with the lowest number in a section with power. So that's up here, which would mean that it is the... None of the rooms up there have computers, so I presume you don't do it. Remove this event from the game. Can do. So with that, I don't think there's anything else to do, so yeah, it's just on to the next round. Alright, as this round starts, believe it or not, I have a plan. First things first, we're going to pick up the corpse, which is just 1 card. We'll get rid of a search card, and again we're just using this marker. It's for my benefit, just remember she's got it. So the hacker has picked up a corpse. I need her to escape in the rover, and I think the sentry is going to go into the isolation room. That's my plan. So, with that in mind, we are going to discard 2 cards to move carefully. Actually, you know what? Before we start moving, I'm going to use Recharge, which is a free card to get 2 ammo back. Because she might need it. So she's done for now, but we'll just keep going because the sentry is right there. I didn't use his medkit yet, so we're going to get rid of a stun card in order to use the medkit, which means we've dressed the wound. We can't heal it, unfortunately, because it wasn't dressed. But good enough. So he's back to drawing 5 cards, which is just as well, because he drew 2 contamination cards again, so there's very little for what he can do. Speaking of which, I need him in a room with a technical corridor, so we're going to use defensive plan, move normally, to go into what would be the safest room here, technically. Oh yeah, we need rid of that dice now that the lights are out. Hey, he moved silently, which doesn't matter because he's slimed still, so actually... slime everywhere! Didn't need to in the technical corridors because I already had slime. So he's done because he only had contamination cards left, so it's just the hacker. And she is going to... oh, we need to rid of these. She is going to skedaddle. She's going to move carefully. to here. Put noise here, because it's the only safe place. And then she's going to do a search. Wait, is there 0 items left in there? Oh. She'll hold on to her search card then. She'll end the turn with 1 card still in hand. And that is the end of the turn. We don't even need to do a break really. So it ticks down to 6 turns. The base is closing, or the help arrives in a very short period of time. Out of power, no lights, straight to event. I didn't do bag development at the end of the last turn. I'm trying to go too quickly now. I'll do 2 here. Scent of blood, that doesn't move. Place a noise marker in each corridor without a noise marker connected to a room with a character who has undressed serious wounds. Thank goodness. If they'd had undressed serious wounds and in the darkness, an adult would have walked onto them. So consider ourselves lucky, but I did forget to do bag development. You're more likely to forget at the end of the game. So this is for last turn. Would have been a noise roll, and then that goes back in the bag. And then for this turn, noise rolls as well. And I think they go back in the bag. Yep. So unfortunately, that means both of them are getting attacked. There's no point rolling. Well, silence for the hacker matters. Nope. So they're both getting attacked. So that's great. That puts an old problem in the old plan that I had. So they'll be getting attacked by adults almost certainly. But let's see. This is for the hacker. That's the queen. Okay. And then an adult. So an adult and the queen, but they appeared in the event phase, so they don't actually attack this turn, thankfully. Alright, I'm sure this is fine. Or it might be a massive problem. We are just trying to get out. So the hacker is just going to run. And there's no point running quietly when you've got that thing on you. So she's running, and this is probably going to result in a serious wound. Let's see. Yep. Perched in the dark, the character suffers 1 serious wound. If this character has 3 serious wounds, they die. So she does get away, but she gets a serious wound for her trouble. She gets her, oh good grief, her eyes have been stabbed. You're always counted as being in darkness. Well, that's pretty true at this point anyway. And then she's going to move carefully into the staircase. Yeah. Move carefully into the staircase to control where the noise is. Put it behind her. Then the sentry. You can't use the cave plans when in combat. That was my plan for getting out. Arg. He's also going to move. He's just going to run. This is bad. He's getting cut. Light wound, contamination. That's actually his 2nd serious wound. And because he's in darkness, he suffers another one. So this one's also undressed. His knees got done in. Cost of first movement, including escape, is 2 in a round. Careful movement stays at 2. He did get away though. Barely. Okay, and then he's going to carefully move. Get rid of 2 cards for that. And again, the knee injury says it still costs 2 for careful movement. To go there. Good noise there. Then it would be back over to the hacker, who has what, 2 cards? No, 1 usable card left. She'll use it or they'll use it rather, I have no idea if they're male or female. They're just going to move here, noise roll, and that generates noise there. And then for the sentry to end his turn, he has 2 cards left. He's going to get rid of 1 to use his cave plans, which is very risky, but this is the only way I can see him surviving. If you're in a room with a technical corridor, which he is, you may move to another explored room with a technical corridor, but you draw and resolve an attack. Treat it as an adult attacking you in darkness. No adult. He got so lucky. And he is moving all the way down to the bottom floor and popping out in the very bottom left room, which is actually just off your camera where the laboratory was, because that's adjacent to the isolation room. That was his first action, right? He's then also going to use Facility Tour, last card in hand, to move to the isolation room. He has to roll for noise. He's very close to getting out. 1, Next turn he just needs to do a noise roll and he's safe. So we will do a cut in a second just so I can tidy stuff up a bit, but we'll come over here for a minute. Another CSS pod launches. C. So if we'd been in C, it would have been fine. Power goes in the elevator. So the base is almost completely out of power. No fire damage to do. Event card. So let's see here, hang on. So the adult moves to 2. The queen moves to 2. Breeder moves to 2. Thank goodness I didn't pop out that door. Malfunction marker in each explored green room. Okay, that's all of them. No, there's not that many actually. Oh, these are stuck together. Here. Then remove this event from the game. We're in with a chance. Oh, and I almost forgot bag development. We don't really want an adult token, but we can still work with it. It's an adult token. Fair enough. Back in the bag you go. Noise roll for the hacker. Every direction. Noise roll for the other one. 2. Okay, so that still gives them a chance. That's good. Noise, noise. Good enough. So now we're into the next round, which, if this goes well, could be the last one. So it's basically every person for themselves at this point. The hacker's getting rid of 2 cards to move carefully. To go right up here to the gate, I'm just going to move the gate so you can see what they're doing. And then is spending 2 to use the rover, and because she's using the rover, you don't do a noise roll, is my understanding. If the rover wasn't there and you had an environmental suit, you can leave, but you have to do a noise roll. And it only holds 1 person, so the hacker drives herself down just outside down here. There's just a little bunker. The rover parks there, and then the hacker is out of the game. They're waiting to be picked up by the company, hopefully not murdered in the process. So this is the riskier one. It has to be a 3 or a 4 on the noise roll. Get rid of an interruption and whatever, stun card. The sentry, where's the roll, is going to attempt to lock himself in the room. He got a 3. Noise there. That door locks itself down. Everything locks itself down. He is sealed inside the isolation room, and that means we now go on to checking scoring and whether or not we won this thing. And the final contingency as well. Alright, so I have the book in hand so we can check through the plethora of end of game victory checks. Step 1 is to check the active contingency and apply it to all living characters. So this is the active contingency. Kill all who did not send the signal. Unfortunately, I forgot to send the signal as the hacker, so the company, upon seeing them and collecting that dead alien and she was carrying around, shoots them in the head. Hacker dead. They lose. They did do their objective, for the record. They did finish the game with an intruder carcass, but the company just stole the carcass and then covered it up. Next, well actually contingency check doesn't apply to the sentry. He locked himself in the isolation room. He has done his objective. All rooms were explored. He did send the signal, so the contingency doesn't apply. Contamination cards. Each living character locked in the isolation room were safe in the bunker or evacuated. Checks their contaminated cards to see if any of them say infected. So that is, he has quite a lot of infected cards, or contaminated cards that is. How many does he have in here? He has, there's 1, wait, I think I had like 4. Apparently I was wrong, he has 2. I might have forgotten to give him 1 at some point. So let's scan these real quick. If any of them say infected, we have 1 last chance to potentially survive. Speaking of which, the hacker had a larvae, so it was very unlikely they were living. There's card number 1, not infected. Card number 2. There's card number 2. Does this say infected? It doesn't. He is not infected. Step 3. Objective check. We've already done that. He sent the signal. All rooms were explored. So the sentry, even though he's very, very close to death, he won the game technically, but because we're playing co-op with 2 characters, we technically lost. Because the company killed the hacker. Even after he did everything that they asked, they shot him in the head. But the sentry did win, so we technically had a sort of victory. We had a half victory. Stuff was probably done wrong. Obviously noticed that bag development a bit late, but for the first game of Nemesis Lockdown ever, hopefully it wasn't too bad. I'm losing my voice. That was enjoyable. Thank you for watching though, and we'll hopefully do some more in the future. Until then, it's ta for now.